3, 2, 1.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Hello to those of you who are feeling called to this reading in particular, mystery reading number 1115. My name is Elizabeth, and before getting into this reading, if you are a recurring viewer, you enjoy my work and you would like to help support it, feel free to do so by sticking around and hitting that subscribe button down below, and ringing the notification bell next to it if you feel called to. And if you do feel called to subscribe and stick around, welcome. My current goal is 300 subscribers at this time, so thank you very much for your support as well as your presence during this reading. So right off the bat, or right out of the gates, there is a message here about change really starting with you. Maybe there's some sort of a positive change that you want to see in a situation, in the world, in a relationship. This could be a call for you to be that change that you desire, so you can attract that same change, I'm talking about this message because right when I started talking again, I saw the number 122 on the timer. And that number for me is all about change starting with you. It could be something or someone that you are trying to avoid at this time. Or maybe there is some spiritual communication that you're receiving that you're ignoring or avoiding. Moving into interpreting number 1115, I first want to say that number 15 is standing out to me. And number 15 is on the Devil card in Tarot. So maybe there's some sort of temptation or unhealthy attachment that you need to release through self-love and self-care. But the number 1 in 1015, well, there are 3 of them, so of course it's going to be quite a strong message here to trust and believe in yourself, your intuition, your strength. Trust what you feel, what you know, and what you're capable of. I do hesitate a little bit to say trust what you feel, because what I mean by that is it's not about emotion, it's about intuition, instinct. What do you instinctually or intuitively feel called to do or say? What strength do you need to tap into to be able to honor this instinct or this intuition? The number 5 is, interestingly, just now realizing it is about change and transformation. Very, very interesting that we started this reading right out of the gate talking about change starting with you. And this 5 feels like a confirmation of this change that you desire, or if you don't desire, that you could at least create. This just feels like encouragement to embrace change, to embrace positive change, maybe even to heal the relationship with yourself or have a deeper relationship with yourself than you've ever had before. These messages feel quite simple so far. Change, intuition, strength. I know change in general can be difficult. I'm going to talk about this 5 minutes into recording this. But yeah, change can be difficult. So don't be afraid to allow yourself to believe in a more positive outcome. As I said in a reading recently, what could go right instead of what could go wrong. I kind of just get this feeling like, how could you show up more in a way that serves what you desire? And it's not in a selfish or materialistic way, it's in a I deserve this kind of way. Selfish in a good way, you know? Adding up these numbers, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, plus 5 is 8. And the number 5, the number 8, I'm laughing because I just saw 555 on the clock, or the timer. So change is undeniably significant for this reading, or whether this change is within you or outside of you, embrace it. Is what this reading is. It feels like this reading is here to encourage you or even maybe push you a little bit to do. But also, don't be afraid to move at your own pace. I think at the very least, all the universe asks for is the intention to go through with some sort of change. As a person, something outside of yourself, whatever it may be. But getting back to the number 8, this number is about loss and trusting that whatever is lost will be replaced. So maybe, there's something or someone here that is quite difficult to walk away from. Maybe this change is quite difficult to make. And it feels like the reason why it might be difficult is because there's this fear of not finding better, or, just forever being in this sense of scarcity. But you can't let yourself, feel stuck or trapped in that fear, in your imagination. And I say it specifically as in your imagination, because I think in the reading that I did yesterday, or before this or something like that, I talked about how fear, it can become something of the imagination if it's a limit rather than actually trying to protect you. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that, whatever fear feels like a limit and not like real danger. I would pay attention to that. And don't let that fear hold you back or stop you from, making choices that respect your worth and what you actually deserve. Don't tie yourself down or chain yourself down to some situation just because you're afraid to leave it. Now, of course, be wise with your choices, be strategic if you have to, but it's very clear here that there's someone or something inside of you, outside of you, that you are being called to walk away from. And I almost want to say that you are being called to replace. Whenever I'm talking about loss will be replaced. It's almost like, there's a little bit of a promise, and I say that lightly because I don't want to make any promises in a general reading, but it's almost like there's this promise that if you do walk away and you continue to respect your worth and what you deserve, and you let go of people and places and things that do not respect your worth, it will pay off. And honestly, I personally believe that. But it also very much depends on your environment, your circumstances, the actual threats that you may face in life. Just, as the ones are talking about, just really trust yourself, have faith in yourself, and be mindful as you navigate some sort of change or situation that may lead to some sort of change. And if it does lead to change, let yourself grieve and process this. But don't stay stuck in that grief and in the past. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve to be your own worst enemy just because you're disappointed, And it's okay to be disappointed. It just feels like for somebody, there's a warning here to not let this turn into self-destruction, the disappointment. I definitely feel that there could be an opportunity to heal to find more peace, you know, just in life in general. And something else that I forgot. So it seems like there's just really a focus here on your peace and what you deserve. And I feel like I got confirmation to let go of whatever is disturbing your peace, maybe even your comfort, and not honoring what you deserve. But I was just about to move on to the next part of this reading, but I looked down at the timer and I saw 55 seconds. So yeah. Make that change, or at least seriously consider it, I want to say. I feel called to encourage you to trust that everything happens for a reason, and that you are being brought this message about change starting with you for a reason. So you can see that there are 2 decks of cards on the table. I am going to start with these tarot cards, which are Major Arcana tarot cards mixed with the pages from the Minor Arcana. And the reason why I have pages mixed with these Major Arcana cards is because the deck that I just moved aside, the yellow and black one, I'm going to use that as more of like the Minor Arcanas, but since they're playing cards, they don't have pages. So I just decided to add them with these Major Arcana cards, so that way if there is a need to talk about the inner child or trying something new or the page, you know, there's an opportunity for it to come through. And I just saw the number 234, another sign there to trust that everything happens for a reason. I most certainly felt called to include the pages here for a reason. So let's go ahead and shuffle out one of these cards from this deck of tarot cards. We're just going to see what comes through, what major theme or idea needs to be talked about or addressed here. Okay, so I have the Empress and this little sticker here. It has the planet symbol of Venus. Honestly, I'm not sure what element that is. So maybe you want to look that up if you feel called to, but this card is also associated with the heart sacral chakra. There's passion. There's something here about your willpower and the love that you should have for yourself, the love and the respect that you should have for yourself. The Empress card also has the number 3 on it, and the number 3 is about self-expression, communication, healing, and growing, and making a commitment to that healing and that growth. So that way you are able and capable of committing to anyone or anything else outside of yourself. I really don't believe that if you can't commit, I really don't believe that if you don't commit to the relationship with yourself, that you can commit to a relationship with somebody else or anything else. You know, because you are a source of energy, you are a force in this world, and if you use this force against yourself rather than for yourself, I just don't see how that would, you know, just work out in the way that you want or even just be fair to you. I saw another sign to trust that everything happens for a reason. There could definitely be something here that you are quite frustrated about, angry even, or even rage. And this reading is a call for you to use this powerful energy. I just saw another sign to trust everything happens for a reason. Use this powerful energy to work for you in big and wonderful ways, rather than work against you in big, terrible ways. The Empress itself, you know, this card itself, without the stickers and the numbers and everything, is literally about being able to nurture and protect yourself, and therefore being able to nurture and protect others, or anything else that you're trying to grow or work on, any seed that you're trying to water. This really, really is a call here for somebody to break whatever pattern you feel stuck in that is just self-defeating. It's very, very clear here. Oh my goodness. And I just looked down the timer and I saw 555 again. This change is very much coming from within. And this reminds me what I said in the beginning about how change starts with you. So there really definitely could be some positive changes you want to see outside of you in a relationship or situation in the world. But you can't expect that change to happen if you don't become that change. You know that saying, be the change that you wish to see? If you want more love in the world, you have to be willing to give more love to yourself. You know? I'm going to move on now to these playing cards here, as I said before. These kind of represent more of the minor arcana cards from tarot, but except the pages are missing. So let's go ahead and shuffle out a couple of these to get more detail into what this Empress card is about. All of these messages about self-love, self-care, your intuition, your strength. I do want you to know that the journey of learning to love yourself and see and respect yourself for who you truly are is so much bigger than you or anyone individually. When you care less about what people think of you, you're creating a world, you're helping to create a world that is less about status and money and more about love and equality. So the first playing card that I have is the Jack of Clubs, otherwise known as the Knight of Wands. And this says impatient, angry. Interesting. It did say that there could definitely be something that you're frustrated about, and then I went on and said angry because I felt connected to the word angry. So very, very interesting. This is definitely confirmation for you that something is definitely weighing on you. And it's weighing on you heavily. And you deserve to use this powerful energy, this power, to create more love instead of more hate for yourself and ultimately in the world. You matter because of how connected we all are and how much we influence each other. How you show up in this world for yourself matters. Especially if you have young people in your life or children, they're watching you. They're listening to you, looking to you to see, how am I supposed to exist? And of course, this isn't just limited to kids or just young people. It's anybody. Any of us can be influenced. Hence why we're in the influencer era, you know. So what are you angry about? What are you feeling impatient with? Definitely feel part of it could be yourself. But it's bigger than that. It's definitely bigger than that. And I definitely acknowledge that for you. And you deserve to acknowledge that for yourself. There could have been something here that you went through in the past that you have to recognize is so much bigger than you. It's not just about what you deserve. You know, when thinking about, like, if you get frustrated at the universe, like, why me, why me, why me? It's not always about because it's specifically the universe is doing this to you to punish you or anything like that. You know, there are things in this universe that the universe itself cannot control. That's what I believe anyway. And one of those things that I know for certain that the universe can't control is human free will. So if you feel like you were wronged at the hands of a human, please don't take that out on the universe or your faith or whatever higher power you believe in, because that wasn't the universe that did that to you. That was that person and what they chose to do. At the same time, though, you have to recognize your own power as well. Let's go ahead and draw out the next card. Well, the next and the last card here for this reading for you. We have another Jack or another Knight. And this time, it is the Knight or the Jack of Diamonds or the Knight of Pentacles. And it says hardworking and routine. And I think it's interesting how this Jack is looking that way, this Jack is looking that way, and they're both looking at this Empress here. And I just saw 111 on the timer. That is definitely a message for me to trust myself and what I'm feeling. But it could also be, further encouragement for you to trust yourself, have faith in yourself, and don't lose sight of, I guess, your faith. What your intuition is trying to tell you, or show you, or guide you. Very, very interesting that these Jacks are looking at this Empress, because the Jack of Diamonds, the Knight of Pentacles, this is somebody who is very focused, very hardworking, and very patient, actually, which I think is funny, because this one does say impatient. This Knight of Pentacles is definitely a slow-moving energy. It really, really is. And maybe this could be what's making you angry, is how much work and effort you feel like you have to put in. Oh, trust me, I'm right there with you. I really, really am. But the payoff, one thing I used to tell myself a lot is that the harder you have to work for something, the bigger the payoff is going to be. And I just saw the number 222 on the timer. I was going to see it earlier, but I avoided it because I was in the middle of a message, and I didn't want to forget what I was talking about then. But the number 2, I see that as confirmation of a significant relationship or situation on your mind, or that has come up throughout this reading, whether I mentioned it or not. It's also confirmation or guidance for you to create more peace and balance within yourself, more love, and being very mindful of the choices that you make. And in this context, especially when it comes to the way that you treat yourself and the way that you speak to yourself. You want people to treat each other more kindly, to speak to each other more kindly. Be that change in the relationship with yourself. Overall, there's been a lot of focus here in this reading on your intuition, your strength, having trust and faith in yourself. So you have everything that you need to make positive change within yourself, in your life, and in the collective. As I said before, there's a call here that whoever, whatever you feel called to let go of or walk away from, trust that will come back to you. That it will pay off, and it may not be the same person or the situation that comes back to you, but I truly do believe that whatever is lost will be replaced as long as you stay on the path of, honoring what you deserve. It's very clear here with these cards that there is a call here to invest heavily into self-love, self-care, healing, just taking care of yourself, especially if, as a child you felt neglected. Maybe you have to reparent yourself. This Jack here, impatient and angry, looking at the Empress. This one's hardworking and has a routine, also looking at the Empress here. So it feels like being hardworking and having a routine around addressing this impatience, this anger, maybe having like a ritual, a healing ritual or something. Maybe that could help you, embrace more of this Empress type of energy. And as a last message, about a minute ago, I saw the number 333 on the timer. And as we said, this Empress does have a 3 on it, and that number is about, expressing yourself, using your voice, communicating. And if you don't know how to express yourself right now, you deserve to explore and discover what you actually need. To be heard or to feel heard. And maybe even to not feel so suffocated. The number 3 is also about healing and growing and committing to those journeys. So it really does honestly feel like that's kind of the main message here. To commit to your healing, your growing, your growth personally, spiritually.